Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be showing you how to make this super cute flower lace summer top, and this pattern already has been circling around social media for a while, and this creation will be inspired by Bellwood, but I did make some adjustments to make sure that pattern is equal from both sides, and also that these laces aren't too stretched out. So there are some adjustments to make sure that it is perfect, and also in this video I will make sure that I'm explaining everything in as much detail as possible, so even beginners are able to recreate this super cute top. I'm extremely happy with this creation and how the pattern turned out, because it really looks like it's a store-bought summer top, so I'm sure that you will enjoy it as well. This top is in size small, so that's what I'm going to show you in this video, but it's very easy to adjust it in a bigger or smaller size by adding extra flowers on the panels for sleeves or for the front and back parts. So just to give you a little bit more context of the pattern, so each flower is basically 25 to 27 stitches, because there are some shared stitches in the middle, as you can see here, but to calculate how many stitches you have to make is basically that you have to multiply 25 by however many flowers you want to make, and then add 3 just to make sure that the end part of the pattern is the same, and then add 2 more for creating the first stitch at the end. I'm sure that it will make sense once you are doing that, but basically, as an example, if I wanted to make 3 flowers in one row, it would mean that I have to multiply 25 by 3, then adding 3 and 2 chains at the very end, so it's 78 plus 2. Anyway, I'm already giving you too much complicated information, so let's just get started, and at the end it will all just make sense. Here are the materials that I will be using. So here we have some cotton 8x4, and here are some more specs if you're interested on like what kind of needles and hooks it requires. And here I have my crochet hook. I will actually be using 3.5mm just to create a little bit looser look. And you will also need some scissors, of course. And in terms of amount of yarn, how much you will need, it kind of depends on how many rows of flowers you will be adding, but I would say approximately 150 to 200 grams of yarn in total. But now let's get started, and we will first be starting by creating a sleeve. So the first thing that we have to do is to create a slip knot like this, and then we will have to do some chains. So for the sleeve, if we are making 3 flowers, in total we will have to chain 78 plus 2 at the end for our first double crochet. So let's get started with chains. 78 in total. Here I have chained 78 chains, and when we are at the very end, let's remember to do also the final 2. So just hold your finger here at the last chain that we have, and then chain additional 2, 1 and 2. And now we can do our first double crochet here in the chain where I'm holding my finger at. So just yarn over, go through the chain, grab some yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull it through first 2 and then the last 2. And now we will be doing, for our first row all the way through, we will be doing double crochets. So just yarn over, go through the chain, grab some yarn, pull it through first 2 and then the second 2, and repeat until you reach the other end. Here I have finished 78 stitches of double crochets all the way through the first row. So now when you are at the end of first row, remember to chain 2 and then turn your work, and we can proceed with the next row. Keep in mind that this will be the procedure for every single row that we are doing. So for the row 2, what you will have to do is that we will first do 10 double crochets. So yarn over and do 10 of them. Once you have created 10, chain 2, 1 and 2, and because we did 2 chains we are skipping 2 stitches at the bottom, and then in the third one we will be doing double crochet, and this will create like a nice hole there. And then we are chaining additional 3, so to make in total 4 stitches of double crochets. So this is 4, and once we have that, then again chain 2, and because we have 2 chains we are skipping 2 stitches at the bottom and doing the double crochet in the third one, and this will create 2 nice holes there. And now this will be for the first flower, so now we have to reach the next one to do the same thing, and for that in total here we will have to do 17 double crochets. So we have the first one already, so 16 more of them. Once you have 17 double crochets we are just going to repeat the same thing as there, so chain 2 and skip 2 and do a double crochet in the third one, and then you have to do 4 double crochets in total, so 2, 3 and 4, and then again chain 2 and skip 2 and do a double crochet, and then again we have to create this gap here by doing 17 double crochets in total, so 16 more, and that's basically it for the second row. You just have to repeat the same thing until you do 3 flowers in a row. When you have finished the row, just make sure that you have 10 stitches at the end, just as we have in the very beginning. And once that's done, just chain 2 and turn your work so we can proceed with the third row. So for the third row, we will again be doing double crochets until we are 3 stitches away from this hole, and then we will do a double crochet on top of that one. So to do that you can either count stitches, so in total you will have to do 7, or just make sure to have a look until you are 3 stitches away. So once you have done 7 double crochets, just chain 2 and skip 2 and do a double crochet on top of here, so it looks like that, and then do 2 double crochets by going through the hole, so 1 and 2, and then do 1 on top of this stitch right after the hole there, so like that, and then again chain 2 and skip 2, so you are doing double crochet on top of there, and then do 2 double crochets in the gap there, 1 and 2, and then another one on top of there, so it looks like that. And then we just have to do 1 more hole, so chain 2 and skip 2 and do a double crochet here. So now what we have to do is that we have to reach this part, and to get there we just have to do double crochets until we are 3 stitches away, or in total it will be 11 double crochets. So once you get here, just do exactly the same thing, chain 2 and skip 2 and do a double crochet on top of that stitch, then do 2 double crochets here in the gap from the previous row, and double crochet on top of that again, and again chain 2, skip 2 and move on to do double crochets in the gap, and literally just repeat the process until you get till the end of the row. So once you have finished the third row, just make sure that beginning is the same as the end, meaning the same amount of stitches, which in this case is 7. And if so, then just chain 2 and turn your work, and we can continue with the fourth row. So for the fourth row, we will have to do 4 double crochets or until we are 3 stitches away from the gap in the previous row. 4, so like this. Then again chain 2 and skip 2 and do a double crochet in there, and 2 double crochets in the gap from the previous row, and finish it off with the double crochet on top of that right after the gap. And then once we are here, we are going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we will be doing a triple crochet here in the middle gap from the previous row. So yarn over twice like that, go through the gap there and pull the yarn and pull it through the first 2, then the next 2, and then the last 2. So it looks like this. And then again chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And once you have done that, we will be doing a double crochet here on the top of this stitch. So it kind of has the mirror effect from what we did here. And then again yarn over and do 2 double crochets in the gap there, and 1 double crochet right after the gap, and then again chain 2 and skip 2. So do a double crochet here. So it looks like this. And then do 5 double crochets in total here, or until you are 3 stitches away from the gap there, and repeat what we did before. So chain 2, yarn over and do a double crochet there, do 2 double crochets in the gap, 1, 2, 1 right after the gap. So we are here, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then do a triple crochet in this middle gap. So yarn over twice, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2, and then chain 4 again. And then yarn over and do a double crochet here. As you can see, it's repeating all the time, and you just have to follow the pattern, and then it's very, very easy. And continue with the last one. So this is the end of the row 4. Just make sure that you are ending it with 4 stitches, just as we have in the beginning, so it's exactly the same. And as always, after every single row, just chain 2 and turn your work so we can proceed with the next row, which in this case is going to be the row 5th. So for the 5th row, we are going to do 1 double crochet, and then we are going to do the same gap as here, so chain 2 and skip 2. So doing a double crochet here on the top, like that, and then doing 2 double crochets in the gap there, so 1 and 2, and then 1 right after the gap. So it looks like this. And now the next step is to chain 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we are going to do a single crochet here in this big hole from the previous row. So go through the hole with your hook, grab some yarn so you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull it through both of them, and then another one here on top of the triple crochet. So go through the stitch there, grab yarn and pull through both, and then again another one here in the next bigger hole. So we have 3 single crochets in total, and then chain 6 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then right after that we are going to do double crochet here on the last stitch from that bit, and then 2 double crochets in the gap there, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet here right after the gap. So it looks like this. And now to reach the next part or the next flower, we only have 4 stitches until we get there, so we are actually going to skip 3. So chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and skip 3. So do a double crochet right there, and then we can again repeat the same process as we did here. So do 2 double crochets here and 1 right after. So it looks like this. And now we can chain 6. And do a single crochet in the big gap, single crochet on top of that triple crochet, and single crochet in the next gap, and again chain 6. And do a double crochet here, then 2 in the gap from the previous row, 1 right after, and then chain 3 and skip 3 and proceed with the next flower, and repeat the same thing all over. And this is how we are ending the row 5th with the gap and 1 double crochet. So just double checking that it is the same as the beginning, and it is. So we can proceed with the next row. So chaining 2 and turning our work around. For this row we will be doing double crochet here in the first stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the gap from the previous row, and 1 double crochet right after it. So it's like this, and then we will be chaining 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So now we will be doing 1 single crochet here in the gap from the previous row, like this, then another one in the stitch there, so 3 in a row, 1, 2 and 3, because we had those 3 stitches from previous row, and then 1 single crochet in this big gap, so like that. And once that's done, then again just chain 8. So here's my chain 8, and now we are going to do a double crochet here on top of this stitch, like this, and then here we have a space of 3 chains, so there we will be doing 3 double crochets. So 1, 2 and 3, and then 1 right after, like this. And then again repeating the same thing as before, so chaining 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and repeating the same process as we did. And just do the same thing until you reach the end of the row. So we are at the end of our 6th row, so we are ending it with 4 double crochets, and as you can see it's the same as the beginning. So starting a new one and chaining 2 and turning our work, and we can proceed with the 7th row. So as you can see, this is how far we are in the pattern. So we have basically created half of our flower until here. So now what we have to do is we have to create the reflection from what we already have at the beginning here. So let's do that. So first thing that we have to do is to do a mirror effect of what we did 2 rows back. So to do that, just do 1 double crochet and then chain 2 to skip 2 and do a double crochet on top of there, and then do 3 double crochets in the big gap like this, and then chain 6, we have 6 stitches, and then we are going to do 3 single crochets in the middle 3 stitches. So first one here, then the second and the third, and again once that's done we are chaining 6. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then doing 3 double crochets here at the end of this big gap. And then another one here right after. So it looks like this. And then the next step is to chain 3, and then we are again skipping 3 at the bottom as we did, and continuing with the next bit. And just repeat the same thing as we just did here. So this is the end of the row 7th, and this is how our pattern looks so far. And just comparing it with the beginning, we have to end it with a gap and 1 stitch at the end, and then again just chaining 2 and turning our work around. And now proceeding with the row 8th. So again we are just following the mirror effect, and first we will be doing 4 double crochets. So 1 double crochet, then 2 in the gap and 1 right after, like this, then chaining 2 and skipping 2 and doing 1 double crochet here at the last stitch from previous bit, like that, and then doing 3 double crochets in the big gap. So we are here, and now we are going to chain 4. 1 2 3 and 4, and right after that we will be doing a triple crochet here in the middle stitch. So yarn over twice and do a triple crochet there, like that, and then again chain 4. 2 3 and 4, and then do 3 double crochets here at the end of this big gap, and then 1 right after, like that, and then chain 2 and skip 2, and then do 3 double crochets here in the big gap, and 3 and 1 right after, like that. And then you can repeat the same thing to complete the next flower, and repeat it until you're at the end of the row. So starting with a small gap, chain 2 and skip 2, like that, and then 3 double crochets in the big gap. And then chain 4. And yarn over twice and do a triple crochet in the middle there, and chain 4 again. and repeat it until you are at the very end. So row 8 is finished with 4 double crochets just as it was started, and also our flower is basically ready. We just know how to build all these boxes around it. So let's continue with the row 9. So chain 2 and turn your work, and then do double crochets. So we're doing 4 here on top of the ones that we had, and then we are also doing 2 in the gap from the previous row and 1 right after, like this. So once you have 7 double crochets, we are going to do a gap there. So chain 2 and skip 2 here and do a double crochet like that. And at this point we are going to do 3 double crochets in the gap here from the previous row, and 3. And once that's done, we are again skipping, so chain 2, and in this case we will be doing double crochet right after the triple crochet here, so do it there and then do additional 2. So in total it's 3 double crochets in the second big gap. And right after you have done that, we are doing 1 here right after. So it's 4 double crochets in a row. And then just chain 2 and skip 2 to do a double crochet before the next gap on the previous row, and then do 2 double crochets in there, so 1 and 2 and 1 right after, like this. And then we are doing double crochets until we are here. So this in total is 11 double crochets, and we can again continue with creating gaps around like this, and then doing 3 double crochets in the big gap just as before, and just repeat the process as we did for the remaining flowers. Row 9 is now finished with 7 double crochet stitches just as we started it, and this is how our flower looks now. So for the row 10, what we will have to do is that we will have to add these 2 gaps that we have here on top of stitches that we have there. So again, ending the row with 2 chains, turning our work around, and then doing 10 double crochets in a row. So we will start by 7 regular ones on top of stitches from the previous row, and then we will have to do 2 in the gap from the previous row and 1 right after the gap. So in total it will be 10. So once we are here, we are going to chain 2 and going to skip 2 at the bottom, so doing a double crochet there, and then in the next gap we are doing 2 double crochets, so 1 and 2 and 1 right after, like that, and then again chaining 2 and skipping 2 and doing 2 double crochets in the gap, and 1 right after. So we have finished the flower here, and now we have to get to the next one, and to do that in total we have to do 17 stitches. So we have 4 already, and let's do 17 in total. So here we have 14 stitches, then we are doing 2 in the next gap, 1 and 2, and 1 right after the gap, and then we proceed with the next chain 2 and skipping 2 and double crochet right after, and 2 double crochets in the gap, and 1 right after the gap. So literally the same process until you complete the whole row. So row 10 is now finished, and we have also completed our first flower. So starting from the row 11th, we basically have to repeat the process that we started from the row 3. So from now on, you just repeat everything from here and then move forward with the following rows to create additional flowers on top of here, and so on. So for the sleeve, you will have to create 3 rows of flowers, so just continue by doing that. And here I have a completed sleeve of 3 flowers by 3 flowers like this, and this is what you are aiming for, and just make sure that you also create 2 of them in total. But now let's continue with creating the body, and the only difference between the sleeve and the body is that basically it will have an extra flower, so 4 flowers in 1 row. So to do that, the only difference that you will have to do or make is that you will have to create more chains, and for the body you will have to chain 103, and at the end of that you will have to do additional 2 to start doing double crochets. Here I have chained 103, and now just holding the finger at the last chain and chaining 2 additional ones, yarning over and going through the stitch where I'm holding my finger at, and doing first double crochet. And then just do double crochets all the way through and follow the same pattern as we had for sleeve. As I just said, the only difference is that we will have 4 flowers in the row like that, and that's basically it. So here I have completed the body part. As you can see, it's 4 flowers in 1 row, and also I made multiple rows. So for the body I actually created 5 rows of flowers, but if you wish you can also make it shorter and go with 4 rows only, or 3 rows even if you want to make more like a crop top. And yeah, this is our first part of the body, so just make sure that you also create 2 of them. So here I have prepared all of the panels for the top, and as you can see I have 2 panels for the sleeves and 2 for front and back. So now the next step for us is to connect all of these panels together to make the final product. And what I will do is that I will just lay it out on the floor so it's easier to see what goes where and where the connection part should go. And I will first be starting by connecting front and back panels, and basically I will be connecting the shoulder parts by leaving some space for the neck, and I will leave approximately 2 flowers for the neck part. So we have 1 flower connected on one side and 1 flower connected on the other side. And to connect these parts, I will be using a simple slip stitch. So just going through loops on each panel, grabbing yarn and pulling it through the loop on your hook, and just doing the same thing all over. And as next part, I will be connecting the sleeves, and I will do it in a way that front and back panels are opened, and then I will just add the sleeve to the side to make sure that it is exactly in the middle. I will first connect it to the body part, and then I will connect the sleeve bottom part as well as the side of the body, and exactly the same thing with the other side. that was basically it from me in this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that it's going to be useful when trying to recreate this type of top for yourself. If you have any questions about the pattern or something didn't work out, then feel free to leave some questions in the comment section and I will try to help you from there. And if you did enjoy this video, please give me a big thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next videos. Bye!